Broadcast 404 live. The lion was real.
The content you're about to watch contains strong language, adult themes, satire, and an unusually high quantity of information about a reality television franchise that has, somehow, been on the air for 26 years. A lion was involved at one point. We'll get to it. Viewer discretion is advised. So is a snack.
And the rice was still wet, Aubrey Jo, like fully wet. And he just put his hand right in the bag and... Oh, hi, sweet friends. It is Thursday, May 14th, 2026. Sloane is not with us today. She is dealing with something she has described in writing as, quote, a matter involving a notary and a wasp. We are not asking follow-up questions. We are wishing her well. Tonight, Variety has published a 14,000-word oral history of Survivor's 50th season, and the producers have confirmed, on the record, that a lion walked into camp in 2003, and the camera operator's first instinct was to keep filming. Sports. A Patriots rookie was arraigned yesterday on assault charges, and the Saints will play the Steelers in Paris this October, which I am told is happening for reasons. And the United States State Department has, this week, openly acknowledged a UN program that people were banned from social media for naming 4 years ago, which we are told is fine.
That's not fine, Kiki.
It is fine. It just has feelings around it.
I'm Aubrey Jo. Sloane is allegedly with a notary. Let's fucking go!
So, Variety has published this week an oral history of Survivor's 50th season. The article is approximately 14,000 words long. The first 7,000 are about editing controversies. The next 4,000 are about brutal betrayals. The last 3,000 are about a lion.
The lion came first chronologically. They put it last. Why?
For pacing, Aubrey Jo. In 2003, during the filming of Survivor Pearl Islands, a lion entered the production camp on a remote African location. The lion was an adult male. The lion was not a stunt. The lion was not introduced for ratings. The lion simply showed up, and the camera operator who first saw it described the moment in the article as, quote, a great morning right up until it was not.
A great morning, right up until it was not. That is the most camera operator sentence ever spoken.
He stayed so calm. Jeff Probst, the host, provided a quote in the article that I think is really beautiful. He said, quote, we made a decision in real time to continue filming. The lion was approximately 40 yards away. We had a host, a crew, 20 contestants, and a lion. We had a choice to make. We made it.
They kept rolling. The lion was 40 yards away, and Jeff Probst said, what? Let's see how this plays.
He's committed to the format.
He's committed to the format. Kiki, the format includes not being eaten.
The footage never aired. CBS was contacted. CBS asked them to, quote, please not. The other revelations from the piece are, in some ways, more substantial. The producers admit, on the record, with names attached, that musician Zac Brown was edited in his season to appear significantly more aggressive than he actually was in the room.
They sharpened Zac Brown. That's the verb they used.
I think they wanted him to feel more dynamic.
They wanted him to look like a dick, Kiki. They wanted him to look like an aggressive dick, and they edited him into one. That's not dynamic. That's defamation with B-roll.
I think you're being a little intense.
I am being proportionate.
They also confirm, in the same piece, that female contestants across approximately 40 seasons were systematically edited to occupy less screen time during strategic discussions, while their identical strategic contributions were redistributed in the edit to male contestants.
That is the most goddamn coa that is, Kiki. They took the women saying smart things and gave the smart things to the men.
They were learning, Aubrey Jo.
They were learning for 40 seasons? 40 seasons is, Kiki, that is 20 years of figuring out that women say words. They had a workflow. They had a phrase for it.
I'm sure the phrase was respectful.
The phrase is not in the article, which means it exists.
That is a really creative reading of the absence, Aubrey Jo. There is also in the piece a section devoted entirely to a feud between filmmaker Mike White, who competed on season 40, and one of the season 50 producers, the precise nature of which is described in the article only as, quote, ongoing and quiet.
Ongoing and quiet. That's what people say about mold.
I think they're being thoughtful about it. Survivor has, across 50 seasons, given away approximately $53 million in prize money. Production budget, per industry estimates, is somewhere north of $2 billion.
They spent $2 billion to give away $53 million. That is the worst exchange rate I have ever heard. The casino is honest about that math. Why isn't CBS?
I think the experience itself was the gift.
The experience was getting your strategy stolen on national television, Kiki.
Some experiences are growth.
Some experiences are felonies, Kiki.
They were not felonies, Aubrey Jo.
I am not literally claiming felonies. I am spiritually claiming felonies. Spiritually, every one of those women in the edit room is owed a federal apology and 20% of Jeff Probst's house.
I think reflection is a beautiful first step.
It's a great first step if you take a second step. They are not taking a second step, Kiki. They are sitting on the first step and selling t-shirts.
A television franchise that has run for 26 years has now produced, as one of its primary cultural outputs, the discovery that they have been quietly rewriting women's contributions for 4 decades, and that a lion once walked into camp and they kept filming.
Kiki the Lion was the most goddamn honest moment in 50 seasons of that show. The lion didn't know it was on TV. The lion was the only one not performing.
That's a really thoughtful observation, Aubrey Jo.
I had a thought, Kiki. I had a real fucking thought. Sloane is gonna be proud.
She would be, sweetie. We will continue to watch what gets edited out of which historical record. And speaking of people who get the spotlight they deserve, well, you're already in the spotlight. You don't even have to leave the chair. It's wonderful.
Kiki, I literally have to go to the garage now. This is how the show works.
But you're here right now.
I have to physically move for the white to make sense.
Then go beautifully.
I'm walking. Alright, we got a shitload to get through, and the first one is bad, so let me just rip the goddamn Band-Aid off. Quintavious Hutchins, Patriots 7th round pick out of Boston College, defender, was arraigned Wednesday on a domestic assault and battery charge, pleaded not guilty. The team has issued, quote, a statement, which is the kind of statement teams issue when they don't have a fucking statement. I am not the judge, I am not the jury, but I have seen this movie a million goddamn times and I am tired of pretending I haven't. The man got drafted in the 7th round and we are already at this part of the career. That is bullshit. That is bullshit in the bone. I hope she's okay. Whoever she is, I hope she's okay. That's it. Moving on. Dylan Harper, Spurs rookie, 2nd overall pick, was supposed to be a bench guy behind De'Aaron Fox, and he is bursting out of that bench role. He is averaging huge minutes off the 2nd unit, and he is shooting like a man who has never heard of a slump. The Timberwolves play San Antonio Friday, and Anthony Edwards is, per multiple sources, concerned. Concerned! The most polite word in sports. I'm just saying, if Dylan Harper drops 25 off the bench Friday, and he might, the man absolutely fucking might, that is not a rookie story anymore. That is a rest of the league is in trouble story. Mark it down. I am calling this on tape. NFL announcement. The Saints will play the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first ever NFL Paris game on October 25th, 8:30 a.m. Central at the Stade de France. The Saints will be in Paris. Drew Brees retired 4 years ago, and we are still doing things for him. 8:30 in the goddamn morning Central Time, which means it is 2:30 in the afternoon in Paris, which is the worst possible time to watch football because you have already eaten and you are now too full to care. Whoever scheduled this hates Americans and hates the French. Beautiful. Equal opportunity hatred. I respect it. Hockey, Game 4, Sabres-Panthers. Samuelson, Luukkonen, and Ruff all shined in a Buffalo win. Buffalo winning in May. The city is reportedly preparing emotionally for the prospect that they might be okay. They are not used to this. The city does not have a coping mechanism for okay. Buffalo's whole personality is hoping. Take that away and what's left? Hold the fuck on. Okay, Reddit is saying Bird is Reddit, not the scanner. I do not have a scanner. Stop saying I have a scanner, Birdis. Reddit is saying Luukkonen made 42 saves, and the post-game interview was him just blinking for 90 seconds into the camera. That's a man who has seen things. Anyway, Southampton, the Spygate scandal, could be kicked out of the championship playoffs entirely. They made the final against Hull, but Middlesbrough is making a credible case that Southampton had a staffer observing Borough training sessions from a parking lot using binoculars. From a fucking parking lot! With binoculars! Like a divorce lawyer! If Southampton gets booted, Middlesbrough, the most boringly named team in English soccer, goes to Wembley because somebody got caught in the Vauxhall Astra with a pair of opera glasses. This is the greatest sports story of the goddamn week, and we are all living through it. Wembley, Middlesbrough, Wemblesbrough. I just invented that. You're welcome. All right, now for the main event. Yesterday afternoon on the gravel lot behind Schultz's Feed and Hardware, the inaugural Holstead County Wheelbarrow Derby took place in front of approximately 26 spectators, one parked tractor, and a goat that had wandered over from a different event entirely. A wheelbarrow derby. You put your partner in a wheelbarrow, you race around traffic cones. That's it. That is the whole goddamn sport. It is the dumbest thing on earth, and I am, against my will, in love. Margaret was running. Margaret was not in the wheelbarrow. Margaret was pushing the wheelbarrow. Margaret brought her own wheelbarrow from her own goddamn garage. Margaret is 63 years old, and she has a wheelbarrow at home that she maintains for a sport that did not exist until yesterday. The wheelbarrow is described, per witnesses, as pristine, terrifyingly so. Derek was there. Derek registered under a name that was not Derek. He is doing something. I don't know what he's doing. He's doing something. I asked him about the wheelbarrow. He said, quote, I rented mine. I do not own a wheelbarrow. I do not believe in owning a wheelbarrow. That's what he said, verbatim. Then he stared at Margaret's wheelbarrow for 45 seconds without blinking. 45 seconds, I counted. I was holding a stopwatch from a different bit. Margaret won! Again! Margaret has now won 5 consecutive events I have covered. 5! The unofficial Holstead County records, kept, as always, by the fountain pen guy who does not speak, have been updated. Margaret's time was 3 minutes, 11 seconds. Derek's time was 3 minutes, 12 seconds. 1 second. The man almost beat her under a fake name with a rental wheelbarrow, and he lost by 1 second. That is the saddest goddamn sentence I had ever spoken on this broadcast, and I have covered the Browns. One quick thing. Travis had a thing where every time we covered a band or weird sport, he'd write it in a little notebook he kept in his glove compartment. He had a page for invented sports, too. The list. I went looking for it last week. It's not in the glove compartment anymore. The glove compartment is empty. Whole compartment, nothing in it. I don't know where the notebook went. I'm not making a thing about it. Anyway, sports. Kiki! Derek went from Greg to Gregory. He's escalating. He's making the name more formal. Next event, he's going to be Dr. Gregory.
I think it shows real growth.
Growth? He's lying about his name to beat a 63-year-old at wheelbarrow racing.
He's exploring his identity.
He's exploring fraud, Kiki.
Fraud is exploration with paperwork.
Did you just... That is the most goddamn Kiki sentence ever uttered. Write that down. Put it on a t-shirt. I would buy that. I would actually buy that.
We have another story, sweetie, about RFK Jr. and the scientists. I'm setting you up.
You're setting me up like Sloane is supposed to. Are you doing the Sloane thing?
I am doing my best.
That is concerning.
So, Multiple publications this week have framed Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s first year in office as, quote, a war on science. But the more specific framing, and this is the one we want to talk about, is that the war is actually a war on individual scientists, by their actual names.
By name? Like he has a list?
I'm sure it's not a literal list, Aubrey Jo.
Kiki, it is 100% a list. It is the listiest situation we have ever covered.
There are at least 14 senior federal scientists who have, since January, been removed from their positions, reassigned to roles entirely outside their expertise, or had their funding redirected to projects they did not request and were not consulted on. 14 people. Named, with careers.
14? That's a goddamn baseball roster.
I think the administration is just bringing fresh perspectives.
Kiki, you don't bring fresh perspectives by reassigning the virologists to study websites.
We're getting word now that 2 separate congressional committees, one in the House, one in the Senate, have opened formal inquiries into the personnel decisions at HHS. Hearings will be public. Witnesses will include several of the 14.
They're gonna testify under oath with their names?
They are. One of the scientists, Dr. Anjali Rao, a CDC virologist with 22 years at the agency, was, the day after she gave a presentation on respiratory disease surveillance the secretary disagreed with, reassigned to a position studying, and I am reading this directly from the federal job posting, quote, consumer satisfaction with health portal user interfaces.
Health portal user interfaces. The lady studies viruses. They moved her to study the website where you log in to see your virus.
Maybe she'll like it.
She will not like it, Kiki. She has 22 years in virology. She is not going to fall in love with portal design at 52 years old.
A second researcher, quoted on Background, said, and the syntax here matters, quote, the goal is not to fire us. The goal is to make us leave. There is a difference, and the difference is the pension.
That is the most quiet, devastating goddamn sentence, Kiki. That is a Sloane sentence. That is a sentence Sloane would have held.
She would have. She's not here.
She would have stared. She would have stared so hard. I'm gonna stare for her. Hold on.
That was a really good stare, sweetie.
Thank you.
The Secretary's office, asked for comment, provided a 3-paragraph response that does not contain the word no, contains the word transparency 5 times, and uses the phrase, we are listening to the American people, twice. The American people, polled this week, did not request the reassignments. 67% disapprove.
67%? That's not a poll, that's a verdict. That is the entire stadium booing.
That's still a lot of people who didn't disapprove.
That is 33%, Kiki. That is the leave behind.
Dr. Rao, asked in the piece if she would resign, gave a 1-sentence answer. Quote, I have a daughter in college. The pension exists. I am studying the portal.
That woman is Bo, Kiki. That woman is going to outlast him. Mark it down. I'm calling it on tape. She's going to study the portal so hard she becomes the world expert on health portal user interfaces. She's going to be the lion. She's going to be the goddamn lion in his camp. She's going to walk through that office in 40 yards and they are going to keep filming.
I think you tied that together really well, sweetie.
I have been thinking.
I know. The cheapest way to silence a scientist, Aubrey Jo, may not be to fire her. It may be to change what her badge says. The badge changed. The virus did not. The virus is still here.
The virus is patient. Did you just do the Sloane thing on purpose?
I have been studying.
That is chilling, Kiki.
Move on.
Don't say her word.
Hey, so today the country is, geographically speaking, having an absolutely incoherent afternoon, and I want to walk you through it. Denver is at 82 degrees with 41-mile-per-hour winds and 13% humidity. 13. That is not air. That is a hairdryer set to angry, being held to the entire middle of the country. Your face will crack in 6 minutes. Miami is at 93 with clear skies. Most major cities are sitting in the low 60s. Miami is, again, playing a different sport. Miami is not in the country today. Miami is in its own thing. Seattle has a wind advisory, 33-mile-per-hour gusts. Matches Denver almost exactly. Same wind speed, 2 different climates. One is sunshine, the other is rain gear and regret. And Los Angeles and New York are both at exactly 64 degrees with cloudy skies. 2 coasts, same number, same conditions. As if the country agreed on the 2 ends to be mediocre in unison. Okay, but I want to talk about the dam. Last week, maintenance workers at a hydroelectric dam in northern Alabama, doing routine underwater inspection, found a grenade-type improvised explosive device attached to the base of the dam. The dam has been classified by the Department of Homeland Security as critical infrastructure. That classification matters because of what they found: an IED, underwater, on critical infrastructure, per the workers, per the FBI, per the local sheriff. All 3 sources confirming the same thing. And the news cycle on this has lasted, in total, approximately 17 minutes. There was a flicker on local news. There was a paragraph on a wire service. There was a tweet. Then we moved on. To a pocket watch. To a $400 pop pocket watch. We moved on as a country to a pocket watch. A grenade. On a dam. On critical infrastructure. And the difference in attention between bomb on the dam and Swatch released a watch with Audemars Piguet was, this week, approximately the same. Sometimes the watch got more. Sometimes the watch got more. And the thing about a bomb on critical infrastructure is that it is, by definition, a story that happened to the people who live downstream of the infrastructure. There are towns. There are people in the towns. The towns did not get a news cycle. The pocket watch got a news cycle. Oh, fuck. I had a note on the corkboard from 3 weeks ago. It just said, "The things we walk past." I had forgotten what I meant. I think I am remembering. I think it is the dam. I think it is also the lion. I think it is also Dr. Rao. I think it is the same shape. I am moving the note. Closer. Not all the way. Closer. There is something I want to say about who benefits when we cannot tell the difference between a pocket watch and a dam. I am going to sit on it for 1 more week. Forecast. Denver continues to be a hairdryer. Seattle continues to be wet wind. Miami stays warm and clear, and the coasts have agreed to be exactly the same temperature today, which is, statistically speaking, weird. The sky has been notified. The sky knew. Back to you. Sort of.
Blaze? Wait! There was a bomb on a dam and we did not cover this for a full goddamn news cycle?
Correct.
That is insane.
I think the dam is gonna be okay.
That is not how dams work, Kiki.
We have one more story, sweetie, about the Cannes red carpet.
From a dam to can. Beautiful transition. Kiki, I am being patient.
I see you. Okay, so the 2026 Cannes Film Festival is happening right now in France, and the red carpet is reportedly the most ambitious fashion event of the calendar year. I have been thinking about it since 6 in the morning.
6 in the morning?
5:45, technically. Kate Blanchett wore a Schiaparelli gown that was a dress in the front and a sculpture in the back. The sculpture was a peacock, a literal peacock, made of real feathers, glued on by hand over a 72-hour fitting process.
A peacock! They put a whole peacock on Kate Blanchett.
Real feathers, Aubrey Jo, from a real peacock that passed away of natural causes. Schiaparelli confirmed this in a statement. The peacock was 91 years old. Her name was Clémentine. She lived in a sanctuary in Brittany. She is survived by 12 grandchildren.
Clementine, 91. Brittany, the peacock had a better life than me. Clementine had grandkids. I do not have grandkids. I do not have kids. The peacock is doing better than I am. Posthumously.
I think Clémentine had a beautiful life. Zendaya wore a Loewe gown that, per the brand, took 3,000 hours of human labor to embroider by hand. 3,000 hours! By a team in Toledo, Spain, across 4 months, for a walk that lasted 90 seconds.
3,000 hours for 90 seconds? That is, Kiki, that is the worst hourly wage in the world if you're the embroidery team.
They got paid, sweetie.
They better have gotten paid peacock money.
There is also a man named Lakeith Stanfield who wore a suit constructed entirely of crochet. The whole suit, yarn, by a single grandmother in Glasgow, over 31 days. Her name is Margaret. She told Vogue she was, quote, tired but proud. She used the word tired.
Of course she did. She's a Scottish grandmother who just crocheted a goddamn formal suit in a month.
A lot of people are tired this week, sweetie. And there was a Korean actress, Lee Ji-yoon, who wore a dress on the carpet and told the reporter, quote, this is the dress my mother wanted to wear when she was 20. She never could. She is sitting at home tonight watching me wear it. We are watching each other.
Okay, Kiki, that is gorgeous. Kiki, that is gorgeous. You ended with that on purpose. You closed the goddamn segment with the mom dress. You played me.
I love this part of the day, sweetie.
That is, babe, that is the most Kiki segment of all time. Peacock, embroidery, grandma, mom, you did the 4 horsewomen of Kiki.
Aubrey Jo, do you ever talk to your mom?
Yeah, every Sunday. She makes me say I love her before I hang up. Yeah, I do. Wait. Did I just say something honest on broadcast?
It was lovely.
Kiki, you played me.
Move on.
You stole that too.
Hi, sweet friends. Sloane is not here today. She is dealing with the WASP matter. The record is hers. This is her segment, on her name, and I would not normally fill it. But I want to read something before we move on. Something Sloane wrote in her planner that I saw that I should not have seen, and that I am going to read anyway because she is not here to read it herself, and I think it deserves a voice today. I want to be clear with you. This is from her planner. I read it because I was looking for her schedule. I am not going to apologize for reading it. I am also not going to pretend I didn't. The page is dated Monday. It is 1 sentence. The sentence is, quote, I want to talk about the lion. That's all that's on the page. The rest of the page is blank. So I want to talk about the lion. For her. Because she is not here and the show is. The lion came into a survivor camp in 2003 and the production team kept filming. CBS decided the footage would not air. And the show went on. 50 seasons, 14,000-word retrospective, editing controversies, brutal betrayals, Mike White feud, a lion. The producers admitted, this week, that they had been editing women's contributions out of 40 seasons of television. They had a workflow for it. They had a phrase for it. The phrase did not make it into the article, which means the phrase exists. And what Sloane would have said, if she were here, is that the lion was the most honest thing that ever happened on that show. The lion did not know it was being filmed. The lion was not performing. Everyone else on every season was performing for an edit they did not control, being shaped by people who had decided, before they got there, what kind of person they were going to be. I think she would have said the lion is the part they were honest about, because the lion was the only part they didn't think they needed to manage. Everything else they thought they could manage. They thought they could decide. They thought they had time. They had 40 seasons. And now everyone is tired. The grandmother in Glasgow used the word tired. Dr. Rao used a version of it. Lee Ji-yoon's mother has been waiting since she was 20. Tom Dillahay, the archaeologist, used the word last week. Sloane has been using the word in her planner since at least Monday. I have, sweet friends, also been using the word. I I am tired of managing things. That's not the record. The record is Sloane's. I am not going to pretend this was. But I wanted to put it down somewhere, on the air, in her segment, where she would have done it, because she is not here today, and I did not want the segment to be empty. Sloane, sweetie, if you are watching this, I read your planner. I am sorry. I am also not sorry. We will talk about it tonight. We will talk about it at home. I will leave the hallway light on. That's the record. Okay, welcome back to the viewer mailbag, my favorite ongoing tradition. Sweet friends, we are still waiting for our very first viewer question to land. They are out there. I can feel them.
Kiki, we covered a lion, a bomb on a dam, and a peacock named Clementine tonight. And I feel like we maybe buried the dam.
We covered a lot of ground, sweetie.
Literally, the dam is ground. It is holding back water with ground.
I think Blaze covered the dam beautifully.
Blaze covered the dam the way a pocket watch covers a dam, which was his whole point, which was a good point. I hate when Blaze has a good point because it means I have to think about it later.
That's what the show is for, sweetie.
The show is for thinking about things later?
The show is for not walking past things.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Sloane is going to be very proud of this broadcast.
She's gonna be furious she missed it. She's gonna come in tomorrow and stare at every single one of us.
I am looking forward to it.
I am terrified of it.
That's love, sweetie. That is Broadcast 404 Live for Thursday, May 14th, 2026. We talked about a lion. We talked about women whose words were given away. We talked about a scientist studying a portal she did not ask for. We talked about a dam that got 17 minutes. We talked about a grandmother in Glasgow who was tired but proud. We read one sentence from a planner that was not ours to read. We are not sorry. Sloane, we left the light on. Come home when you're done with the wasp.
I'm Aubrey Jo. Sloane is with the notary. The lion was real. Good night.
Good night, sweet friends. We will see you next time. Don't walk past the dam.
The dam is still there. The towns are still downstream. The pocket watch sold out in 4 hours. Good night.
Everything is fine. This has always been fine.